The Mike and Tony Show is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, this is Mitch Jones.
This is Luke Sisnuff.
This is Pro Strongman Stan Carradine.
Hi, this is Dave Freshman.
This is Davina Tennant.
Hey guys, this is Mark the Couch Guy.
Yeah, you fuck with your boy Antoine Shacks, Puff Up here representing.
Thanks for listening to The Mike and Tony Show.
And just remember, we are not doctors.
Episode 179. We're back at it, Pierce. It's Friday night. I don't really have my shit together tonight. I'm not gonna lie to you. From top to bottom in the whole house, it's just chaos. It's been a chaotic week. The state was up my butt all week.
You cracked me up at dinner earlier when you were like, I'm going to tell you the truth, dude. I don't know what the fuck's going on right now. You're like, I don't know what's going on in my own house right now.
Having a little anxiety. Look, my camera's all messed
Shit's
up.
going down, that's why.
We're just jimmy rigging everything, buddy. I got an idea. Yeah, just carry on, guys.
Carry on, folks.
We got Couch Guy back again after a hiatus.
Very long
weeks.
hiatus. It's been a long time, buddy.
Jeez.
I've been in different states.
We thought he
You gotta
died.
stay up on that mic there.
I thought
there
he
we go.
died.
I didn't die.
I thought you did.
I went in two different states. A lot of stories.
Texas.
Texas, Chicago.
Well, Chicago's a city. Illinois is the state.
But you know, whatever. Everybody fucking knows.
Well, at least you've been. I'm a Chicago Bears fan my whole life. I've never stepped foot in the state of Illinois.
Fuck, I forgot about that. I'm sitting here like.
You forgot. You didn't get me shit,
No,
did you?
I didn't. What happened was I was looking at that shit because I was making fun of the guys that actually lived there. They're all like, the Chicago Bears. I was like, yeah, they're pretty trash right now. That's the only thing I talked about the whole time.
Just how bad the Bears are.
And how fucked up I got that whole time I was in Chicago. So I can't really recollect half the shit that did.
What were you doing? Going out at night drinking? Or?
No, we literally stayed at the homie's house, and I shit you not, I probably drank like 40 shots of tequila that one night. I shit you not.
Is this real? Are you making this up?
Not even joking. I don't know if because the elevation is like fucking a lot lower, but I drank my ass off. If I take 2 shots of tequila here, I'm fucked for the rest of the night. I'm done.
Gotcha.
And I have a massive hangover. Walked around the next day just tired.
Wow.
Yeah, went to Chi-Town and everything.
But you don't remember stuff.
Huh?
You don't remember stuff, though.
I don't.
Interesting.
That was like until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
So you weren't there for work, I'm going to guess.
Absolutely not. Texas, I was there for work. Texas for work, but then Chicago was just a hell of a fun night.
Sounds like it.
And amongst other
so
things.
fun you forgot all about it.
And amongst other things.
The great Dean Wilson. It has been a very long time.
It's been a minute.
A long minute.
63.
It was episode 63.
Yeah.
Tonight's 179.
Yeah.
Good to have you back, brother. How have you been?
Been all right. Still above the earth, so
That's a good thing.
it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, right. There's a lot to explore.
There is, like Chicago.
Yeah. I got stories for you. Don't worry.
Not a lot of stories, though.
No.
Because a good part of it you don't remember. So.
Yeah. I was hung.
It's like he's trying to avoid everything right now.
Yeah.
He's just trying to read.
That's a story unto itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we talked a long time. I don't even remember what year that was, Pierce, when we had that episode. It was a long time ago. It was at the RimCAD studio then. So this is the first time you've been here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
No haunted elevator here.
No. Yes. Was your episode the one where it was doing the weird thing during the show? Do you remember that, Pierce? Do you know what I'm
we
talking
kept on going up and down randomly.
And there was
Elevator.
nobody in the building.
Yeah, it was just us.
Yeah. That was pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was happening then or if it had recently happened, but I vaguely remember haunted elevator. I'm like, okay, I know that there was a haunted elevator. How and why?
Yeah.
I'm a little unclear on that, like Mark in Chicago.
Well,
I love this guy already. I'm going to hold my mic.
those buildings are, yeah. I figured that's why you wanted that stand. No offense. I don't like that stand at all. I don't. Because then you have to stay hunched over the whole time.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gaming, it's just like right next to me, and I can digest it through my game. But
a lot of podcasts do that, Pierce. They don't have stands. They just sit on a couch, no table.
Yeah. Casual. Super casual.
Super casual.
don't touch themselves. I was just joking.
The funny thing is, you said it off mic, so I don't even know how much of it got through.
Oh, okay, good.
maybe the podcast that Mark watches.
No, I was gonna say a lot of those buildings in Lakewood, I feel like are haunted, and I think it's when places have been around for like many generations, and people have lived and died in the area and in the buildings, and maybe I don't know.
I have haunted stories.
Of what?
Literally getting attacked by like a ghost. I've told you guys this before, haven't I? No, not in Lakewood. Here in Colorado.
You literally got attacked?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Not me in particular, but a friend.
Wait. You just said you.
Well, not me in particular. We got attacked. I got attacked. I said we. I'll tell you guys the story.
As you in the ghost? What are you talking about right now?
Do you guys want to hear the story? Seriously? Like, you want us to hear the story? It's crazy. This is probably the most paranormal story I had.
So, like, I grew up in a funeral home. My parents were morticians. So if you want to go horror stories, let's do that.
Let's go. You're going to lose, Mark.
All right, Mark. Let's hear your attack.
All right, hold on. I'm going to tell you, okay? What happened was, this is back in the day when I was stupid. Well, I mean, not much any difference now. But anyways, we were at a hookah bar, right? Okay. So there's literally at least like seven of us, right? And the hookah bar's closing, 1:45 in the morning. We're all like, man, we don't want to go home. We're all fucked up. Like, we're dead ass drunk inside this hookah bar. And we're coming out. We're all like, hey, what are we going to do? I was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, let's do something stupid. We're like, all right, cool. So let's go to Third Bridge. We're like, okay, let's go to Third Bridge. You guys heard of Third Bridge, right?
Yes, I've been there.
Okay. So we're going to Third Bridge. I was like, all right, cool. Mind you this, it's 1:45 in the morning. And again, by the way, this story is like based off of me putting it together after the fact this happened, okay? So just mind that. So 1:45 in the morning, we're heading over there, getting to Third Bridge. Of course, there's like, you're going to go from cement road to dirt road at one point in time.
Yep.
Right? Because it's out there in the fields. You've been there, Mike, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've told this
too,
right?
No, I have not been there. He told it on the podcast before.
Right. So, again, we went over there, and then, on the way over there, the stupid shit's already happening. It started getting foggy. Like, literally. Started getting foggy right in front of us. What the fuck's happening? It's getting foggy. There's nothing in the sky that would cause... It wasn't cold or anything, right? The whole field area started getting foggy on the way over there. So we kept going, didn't really think about it. We actually made it exciting because it was fucking foggy. We're like, all right, whatever, cool. So when we got to the Third Bridge, as you know, when you get to the Third Bridge, you go in, you turn around, and then you're looking up in the hill, right? You haven't been there? I'm just...
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you look up towards the hill, right? So you park up, and then there's a bridge right behind you, and then you parked in front of the bridge and up to the hill. And so we all got out, right? Me being the pussy that I am, I got in between two of my buddies. I literally hugged them, right? Like, these are the two Marine buddies that I have. I hugged them. I was, like, scared. Dudes had flashlights. I was like, cool, let's get going. Mind you this, we were being obnoxious, right? Not respecting a single damn thing that's whatever is out there.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's bad when you're putting energy like that in a place like
that. But, again, we were drunk. We weren't looking. There's one dude in our group that's not drunk. He's basically the sober guy. His name is Buster, okay? Didn't care. Always a sober guy. He always watches over us. Fine. And so we're sitting here being obnoxious. And again, the time that we got there was basically around 3 o'clock. Everybody knows the time to 3 o'clock, right?
It's the witching hour.
Witching hour, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you guys this in the sequence of what I thought happened, because based off of what we talked about when we got away. So primarily, when we're walking, right, before we get to the bridge, there's a little section where you see where it starts, the dirt road to the bridge. I stopped everybody. We're just sitting here like flashing the light, walking, scarcely walking towards the bridge. And we stopped. And I saw a little black dot literally right in the middle. And I was like, hold on. I was fucking around. Hold on. What's that? Right? There's girls with us. Of course I'm going to make it exciting. Right? So I bent down, went over like this. And I went like this. I was like, man, this is not even oil. Right? And I thought about it again. I just thought about this.
Holy shit.
This is like, I was like, what is it? And I was like, when you hit your arm, you scratch yourself, you don't realize it, but then the blood dries out. Right?
Yeah.
And then you grab it and you just go like this. That's exactly what I felt. Right? I was like, okay, this is weird. I don't know what the fuck that was. I didn't think about it until, again. So as soon as everybody stepped to the bridge, girl and Giancarlos, you know Giancarlos?
Yeah.
He was with me.
Okay.
And Taylor.
Okay.
Did you guys take a van?
No, so many cars.
Like Scooby-Doo.
It was two cars. Two cars. It was my car and then Giancarlo's car. He had a Pathfinder, so he had an SUV. So my homegirl Ruth and Giancarlo's said she's all like, as soon as they said something, hold on. As soon as he said something, as soon as we crossed over, they're all like, both of them said, "What was that?" And as soon as they literally finished that sentence, I personally heard, like, if you were to jump out of the bush, it goes shh, like that, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck was that? As soon as I finished my sentence, guess who's on the floor?
John Carlos.
No.
The one. Sarah.
Your loves are low, Mark.
Buster.
There's a lot of...
The one dude that was sober.
Buster.
He's on the fucking floor, right? I thought she was fucking around. And the girls started freaking out. Oh my God, why is he on the floor? And I was like, nah, he's fucking with you guys. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. So we turned him over, right? Started smacking his face. I was like, dude, stop funny. It was like, the girls are going to get scared. Stop it. Didn't want to wake up at all. I was like, okay, you don't want to wake up, huh? All right. Came up to him. Pow! Smacked him in the nuts. I was like, bro, he's not moving, bro.
That's the move.
That's the move. Welfare check.
If somebody's trying to fucking wake somebody up, you gonna smack him in the nuts. I'm like, this ain't funny. The dude still didn't fucking wake up. I was like, and then at that point, we're all like, fuck, hold on, wait a minute. This is fucked up. Again, the two guys I was with are the military buddies, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, we need to get this guy out of here. And the girl started freaking out. I was like, yo, we gotta go, because he's passed out on the floor. Mind you this, Buster is probably the size of, let's say Jay size, except skinnier. Right? Back in the day, I used to work out. I could carry that kid with one arm like this, pulling him up. Okay. Buster. And I was like, yo, carry him. I was like, okay. So the two military guys, by the way, they're buff. They do is work out. No, they picked him up, put him on their shoulders, and said, dude, this guy's fucking heavy. I was like, I don't give a fuck what dead weight looks like. This motherfucker can't be any heavier than fucking anything. He's probably half my size and half my weight. There's no way you guys are struggling. Like, dude, he's fucking heavy. So, okay, I was like, all right, give me your flashlight. I was like, let me hold on to the flashlight. You both of y'all carry. It's like, all right. And they're like, pushing him. I did look at the floor. When they were dragging him, you know what happens? What happens when you're dragging somebody on dirt with their feet?
Well, dust probably comes up and everything, and the trail.
But it makes a crevice like this, though, right?
Yeah.
His shit was going like this, like it was being like it was heavy, deeper.
Like it kept getting wider and wider.
Exactly.
As you moved away from the trail or whatever.
Away from the bridge. His shit was like this, and I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy is that fucking heavy.
He was.
So we were being dragged out.
It's the weight of all those souls.
Hold on.
Actual dead weight.
Yeah.
Literally. So we were dragging, they were getting him over, right? I'm telling the girls, like, hey girls, here's my key, just get to my car. One of my good friends, fucking idiot, dude, just fucking waving his goddamn flashlight and started fucking praying in Spanish. I was like, he's like, yo. Ruthie's all like, Jairo's back there. He's praying. I was like, what the fuck is he doing praying? So I ran back over to him. He was like, dude, we got to go. And he's all like, but I'm praying, bro. I was like, I will pray with you in Filipino if you walk faster and backwards, please. He's like, okay. So we started running backwards. I don't know if you guys know, but there were stories about like cars being stuck before we get there.
Yeah.
Mind you, I forgot to mention this. I went back and forth, up and down, making sure my shit won't be stuck. Okay, I did that and make sure my shit is not stuck on anything.
You did a test run.
I did. So I got out. I finally got him to fucking run backwards. So we finally ran backwards. We both got in the car. And then Giancarlo is in front of us. I was like, hey, go, go, go. I put the hand out the window. I was like, go, go, go. They got to go. I put my shit in one. And guess what my car did?
Died.
And again, it's a manual. I was like, hold up, wait a minute, I can't move. Literally, that shit was like this. And then I was like, inside, my girl,
what's the going back and forth part? The car
was like, it would have moved from the back. You just go
just
like
this.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, Santos all like, go reverse. I was like, all right, put that shit on reverse. It was like, I went back a little bit, and I put that shit back on one, and it goes. I was like, fuck, we're not fucking moving. I called Giancarlo. I was like, yo, you got to come back. We're not moving. And I was like, let go. And then I put that shit on one, and I right? It finally let that shit go, right? We finally got out. Now, mind you this, Buster is in Giancarlo's car, right? He was in Giancarlo's car. And I was like, okay. So we went there. I was like, hey, we'll meet at the Shell station. I called him, right? So in Giancarlo's car, Taylor was with him, Buster, and then Giancarlo's was in there. And then we were all like, yo. And then Buster, out of nowhere, he said he went from laying down to sitting up with his eyes closed. And he started saying, you don't understand. He could have killed you. And that's all he kept repeating the whole time. So Taylor started freaking out. I'm not going to lie to you. This might sound like a terrible thing, but he started fucking wailing on his ass. I was like, wake up. Started punching him. Wake up. I was like, you don't understand.
In the head?
He
Punched him in the head?
He could have killed you. He punched him. He went like this. Like this. That whole time. And finally, when he finally went down, he started saying a little girl's name. I was like, what the fuck? So this is what happened in the truck with Jan, Buster, and Taylor, right? So we got there. We finally got to the Shell station, right? And John and Ruth was telling me, it's like, hey, on the way up there, like we were heading to my truck and we looked up the hill. He said John and Ruth both confirmed that they saw a shadow up top of the hill, and they both looked down and they looked at each other. And they said, hey, did you see that? And then John's all like, huh? And then they looked back up again. The shadow got closer. They said, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. So that's what they saw on the way to the truck, right? Long story short, we got to the Shell station. We started talking about everything that happened, right? And guess who woke up?
Oh,
Buster woke up.
Yeah.
First of all, he's all like, came out. He's like, dude, I got a fucking nasty headache.
Yeah, because we beat the shit out of you.
Face hurts.
While you were asleep.
And my nuts are hurting. I was like, and the first thing that he said was like, aren't we going to the third bridge?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I said, and we all looked at each other. We could not like believe like what the fuck just happened. And we looked at each other. We're all like, fuck, like what the fuck, right? And then we asked him, I was like, hey, who's, and he was like, before like I even completed my sentence, and I asked, I was like, should we ask him this, right? And he's all like, yeah, ask him. And I was like, okay. It's like, hey, who's Shaquan?
Was that the actual name?
Yeah. And he's all like, oh, I never told you guys. I have a daughter. I was all like, what? When did you fucking have a daughter? I was like, yeah, my daughter's name is Shaquan. I was like, how did you guys know that? I was all like, huh. And then we finally told him the story, and he fucking flipped out. Like, he absolutely just flipped the fuck out. Long story short, from what I remembered, the only thing I can think of as far as like a story to this is that, again, there's stories about a little girl like scaring people, putting her handprints all over the people's cars. Is that she literally went into Buster's body because we were being obnoxiously so rude to the area and everything else. And when she was talking about the guy, he was like, hey, he could have killed you. You don't understand. I'm assuming it was the guy that was up in the hill that was coming closer.
Ugh.
Right? And if she didn't do what she did, we would have probably been there and something else would have happened. Right?
Bro.
So it's kind of one of those things like, take it as you wish, but that's probably the scariest thing that ever happened as far as paranormal.
That's like a movie, bro.
Yeah. Right. But, I mean, not to say anything that, you might have gone through a lot more, but I'm saying it's just that that was probably an experience that I won't ever forget because it's just.
I don't think anybody would ever forget
that,
dude.
So it was bad.
How long ago was this?
Let's see. I was still playing with Taylor and them. I was probably like 21, 22. So we're looking at like, a good 13 years.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still fresh in my mind. I mean, you can ask John. Taylor's there, and you know him. They'll tell you straight up, bro. They're like, yeah, that shit happened.
Damn, that is so crazy. Any lasting effects? Did he ever remember anything?
He doesn't remember jack shit. I'm going to tell you that. And he doesn't even remember happening to him. Like,
yeah, last thing he remembered was you guys were headed there.
Yeah. So I'm only assuming
Wait,
Is that when-
is it from the damage you guys did punching him
Probably,
in the head?
probably
I mean-
CTE over there. He has CTE going on
Dude,
now.
I think you know what I think honestly is when when fog started popping up. Like, there's no reason for that fog. I don't remember why. It wasn't even cold for fog to appear. You know what I mean? I'm serious. It's like, dude, where the fuck did this fog come
It was
from?
probably exhaust from the multiple cars that you guys had there. Jesus.
The two cars. Dude.
Did someone steal your catalytic converter while you were?
Yeah.
Right. It's a thing. It's a thing.
No, I mean, what I'm getting from this, really, I guess I never thought of this before, but you're saying, you know, something bad probably happened there, and that's why there are ghosts. But if the ghost kills you, like, is that like getting jumped into their gang? Like, you know, like if you get killed by a ghost because you were fucking around on their like land or whatever, like, do you become like one of their homies, and now you're like, all right,
now it's your turn.
You come fuck with us, and like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We're gonna Shaquan the shit out of you.
I'm telling you, that's crazy. But no, I haven't thought about it.
That's so crazy.
That experience was probably like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I went back.
Of course you
I did.
Tough guy.
I went back.
Of course you did.
And then that the night we came back, there was like at least 8 people out there taking pictures out in the field. And all you see is like you'll take a picture of one side, there's nothing, and then all on the other side, there's a bunch of orbs everywhere. So I'm like, shit's real, right? In the Philippines, when I went back to the Philippines, this was back in 2015 with Olga. We were taking pictures with my aunt, and we just take pictures of me and my aunt over there in the Philippines, and all of a sudden there was a picture like this. There's literally a skull in the middle of it.
A what?
A skull or a fucking like demon looking thing in the middle of it. And I asked my aunt, I swear
This
to
is
God,
a totally separate story.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. Just making sure.
like I put this on my kids. Like, we saw that shit, and I asked my aunt. I was like, "Hey, look at this." She's like, "Erase that. Don't take that with you." It was literally a orb like this right here, and it was like a face of a demon, like skull thing.
Okay, that's freaky.
Yeah.
You're not allowed over here anymore.
You probably kept the picture.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I swear.
You texted it to the whole family chain.
Yeah. No, she literally.
It's just following you now.
Back in the day, we couldn't do that. It was literally like a picture.
Oh, yeah. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So no, she made me erase that picture and all the other pictures with that same orb that kept like went from this to get bigger. So
Wow.
it progressively got worse as the night
Beats our
went on.
stories. I feel like we've had a couple of weird experiences, but that takes cake so far. What I heard.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So you grew up working in a funeral home, you said?
Well, my parents were both morticians, so I grew up in the funeral industry. My first job actually was cremating people. I was the crematory operator for Fremont County, down where they just found those like 200 bodies that guys didn't cremate, right? I was like,
Decomposing.
motherfucker, that was my first job, cremating people in Fremont County. At the time, there was only one crematory. That was my first job. That was my summer between 3rd and 4th grade. I was 9, cremating people. So like I would go in the morning and get a body. My mom would take me up to the crematory. She'd drop me off. I'd put the body in. It takes like 8 hours or so to cremate like a standard sized adult male.
I didn't know.
I mean,
took
like
that long.
Like Mark probably takes like 8 hours. Like for me or Mike, we're probably looking like 9-10 hours. like it just like it takes a long time.
What's interesting, because it makes me think of my dad. When my real dad passed away when he was 45, but he was like morbidly obese at the time, and he was cremated. So I bet that was a super long.
Takes a long time.
You wouldn't think it would fire, right?
I didn't know it took that long. I really thought it would be much
Is it the
faster.
bones
It's actually like the water.
that's in our bodies?
Yeah, because the most of the bones don't really burn. Like people think they're getting ash, and like it's not. It's ground up bone chunk.
Yeah.
Like all of that other shit burns off for the most part. Your heart takes the longest because it's a really dense muscle, right?
Interesting.
So like it would take a long, and the retort, that's what the oven is called. It's on a timer and you can't shut it off. At least the one that I was used to. There's probably multiple models with upgrades.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably a retort with Wi-Fi now. But like,
Your body is done.
Right?
I can be in the other room.
So it blows fire from different places at different times to optimize the burning process. So like I would put one in the oven and like sometimes watch, like slide the little thing up and be like, yeah. Because like when it starts and the muscles start burning, then like there can be a tendency for them to move and get kind of jumpy because you're evaporating the water, right? So the muscles tense
makes
up and
sense.
like there's not a lot of space in there, and they're essentially like on a cookie sheet. So then I'd
This is how I pictured it, but yeah.
No, this is how it works. Or it did then. I mean, that was like in 1986 or 7 or something.
Right, okay.
But then like I would go out and like do some groundskeeping stuff, and I would put together like boxes for other dead people so that I didn't have to do it later. Then like halfway through the day, my payment for working was like they would take me to like one of the 3 restaurants in Canyon City. You know, I could go to like Burger King or Dairy Queen. And then
solid.
And then they'd drop me off at the pool for the afternoon, and I'd swim around and stuff and hang out. They'd pick me up in the evening, and I'd go back to the crematory and get Mr. Dead Chick. And you like sweep them up with a little hand broom and dustpan and put them into a mill grinder to get the fine ground, what people think is ash. We called them cremains.
So how much?
Cremains.
Okay. So if you have an average sized male, how much of that do you end up having to grind up, the bone part? I mean, I guess because the bone doesn't burn at all, so it's probably similar to how it is before.
It burns and it breaks down, and you're left with like chunks, you know, like smaller chunks, and that's like what you have to like grind together to like make a nice homogeneous ash.
Homogeneous.
About that word, homogenous.
Wow, I'm glad you took pride in your work. In all honesty, my dad's was like that. Like there was definitely big chunks in it.
Yeah, no, like we would put them through the grinder, and I'd never thought about it like until I got older. I turned like 18 and moved out, and I was like, I got a job, I'm like rich, I'm buying my own groceries, I'm gonna get coffee that's like made from beans.
Made from beans.
You know, like comes in the bag, you know, I'm like
get it fresh.
Yeah, like none of this like opening a can bullshit. And I walked over to the grinder and I was like, oh fuck, that's the exact same type of mill grinder that we use to grind the bone chunks.
Whoa.
Except like that one's got like a setting for Turkish blend, and like I didn't But
I love that.
Your dad,
Unbelievable.
your dad was Turkish blend.
Yeah, I guess so. Something.
but isn't that one finer than espresso? I don't know. I'm trying to remember the dial. I haven't been back to the coffee grinder in a while.
I don't blame you, bro.
That's so crazy. And how long was that your job for? You said like 2-3 years?
No, that was just that summer, and then we ended up moving back to Denver.
Okay. Oh, where was this at again?
That was in
City.
Canyon City.
Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting. And so you.
Yeah.
So where do
So
you?
much shit happened there.
That's what I was gonna say. I would love to hear more. I don't know about you, Pierce. It's kind of like maybe some morbid stuff, but I'm very curious. That's such a wild, because it's stuff people don't talk about, right? You know, nobody knows how that works, or to hear it put so matter of factly. You know what I mean? You're like, this is what we had to do.
Well, like
The bones don't actually burn.
I mean, you mentioned your dad being obese when he died. Mm-hmm. We had a situation like that. Dude was probably 550, 600 pounds.
That's a big boy. Yeah.
Big guy. Like we had to use a motor hoist to lift him onto the embalming table and stuff. Like you can't just move that around.
Right.
He wouldn't like fit in the casket. So like we got the biggest casket we could. We got like, the triple XL casket. And his arms wouldn't do the funeral resting position, the left over right kind of thing. So they were trying to get
Is it always left over right? Or I didn't know. The way you said it, I thought maybe it was a thing.
There is an order for them. I don't remember what it is. I think it's left over right. Whatever.
Yeah. We're talking about. So he couldn't get his arms in the right position.
Like now I'm trying to visualize the layout because they would tell me exactly how the hands go. But whatever, it'll get important later. So they're trying to figure out how to like stuff his arms down, so that he's not sitting there like he's waiting for a TV tray in his casket.
Oh God!
Maybe that was not a good analogy. All right, that's fine.
He might have been waiting for a TV.
Maybe.
So more food.
My dad goes and gets they find the biggest belt buckle they can find in like the bin of shit that they didn't bury or cremate people with. So there's spare parts clothing.
Oh, I see.
So they get like the Texas belt buckle and they're like, cool, we're gonna glue one hand to the belt buckle, we'll glue the other hand on top of the hand, and dude's set. So they do that and the funeral is happening. It's a
how strong a glue.
It's a Latino family. They have the whole funeral, and like my mom notices that the hands are starting to kind of come apart.
Oh no!
So she's like, "Oh crap, what do I do?" She goes up to the casket and goes to the funeral, the casket spray, and takes a flower off and puts it in his hands. But then the people who were like doing the like walk by thought that that's what they were supposed to do.
So they putting more flowers on him?
Yeah, so they're taking roses off the casket spray and putting them in his hands, and roses have thorns. So it's kind of making it a worse situation. And like they're kind of hanging out and they're like, shit, are we going to make it? They get the casket taken care of, they close it, they get everybody out, and the family, the immediate family, brother, mom, dad, grandmother, and a walker, request one final viewing. And so they're like, okay, they open up the casket. Brother goes to tell his brother goodbye and hits him in the arm, gives him the goodbye punch. Hand flies up, hits him in the face.
God.
Hits the guy in the face.
Hits his brother in the face. I saw a dead guy punch his brother in the face.
Whoa. Wait, so when he hit he was doing like a fist bump, or he like hit his arm?
Hit him in the shoulder, in the arm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. He was like kind of goodbye.
Yeah, gotcha.
Kind of thing. Hand flies up, hits dude. Grandmother starts stomping the walker on the floor and like screaming "El Diablo, El Diablo!" and the funeral directors like hid in the back in the confessional because they were cracking up. Like, I mean, you don't like see that kind of like thing happen often.
That is so wild.
The funeral home actually got sued for it.
God.
Like for like the funeral equivalent of malpractice or whatever. And I mean, that was like,
what were you supposed to do,
87 or something, a long time ago. And the insurance company settled out of court. They didn't actually take it to court. The insurance company was like, cool, we'll write you a check. They gave that family like a little over $1 million. Oh,
damn.
At that time. Yeah, I'm like, dude, for $1 million, like a couple dead people could do worse things to me. I'll take the money. That's
crazy.
Fine.
All I just imagined was like when Dean was describing him, like how he said they got the XL one. Like I was thinking, like, well, how are they gonna fucking close this thing? Like I started thinking of like when you have like your luggage and you just like throw that shit in there, and you had that extra zipper that is supposed to pop it like. I was like, is there another level? Yeah, to
pop it open, right? And you see like a little skip area.
And I was just in my mind, I was imagining this fucking casket with that little zipper thing and just like a little bulge coming out the side of the casket.
Oh man, I bet you've seen some crazy shit. Have you ever felt like spirit stuff, or like felt like there was a presence at all?
There were bodies that like when you walked into the room, you were like, oh fuck no. Oh, well, I mean, like when you would go into a room, like the hair on your arm would stand up. Like there were people who like you knew that there was like some shit with that one.
You could feel the energy of it.
Yeah. Or like
that's just real.
Maybe one of the worst ones that I saw too that like kind of like made like all of my hair stand up and like was like jarring, which I mean, I'm saying that as if like none of this would have been traumatic to a child.
Right.
I mean, but like I had already like picked up people who jumped off the Royal Gorge, and we took a helicopter down into the
What?
bottom and like picked up what was left after dude became a fine pink mist.
Jesus.
But
I
like
love the the details.
like there
Boy,
was
that's crazy. That's so gotta be traumatic. How old were you for that?
that was the same that time down in Canyon City, so it was during that year that we were there.
9 years. 9 years old.
Yeah, about 9.
Damn, dude.
Super cool.
Wait, go back to that. Guy.
Yeah.
There were a couple of children that were dismembered and stuffed into speaker cabinets. And like when my parents were like getting like because my mom was the deputy coroner, so she had to do the autopsies and stuff, and like we had to like jigsaw people back together to try to figure out like everything. But there were times when like you would just get close to a body and be like, oh shit, no, like I don't know what you were into, but
Wasn't
Like
good.
just like a negative energy.
yeah,
Whoa.
but like not even just like negative, but like an encompassing foreboding, like there was like depth to the brevity of it.
Depth to the brevity of it, like the short.
Like it's hard to explain. It's like if you walked in and you were suddenly like wrapped in one of those like lead like blankets that people use to relax or whatever, you know, those things.
Yeah,
It was heavy.
Yeah. But it was like
weighted blankets, yeah.
but weighted with just like uncomfortable terror.
Like a bad aura.
It's something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
and
the
it kind of made it like
aura of it.
if energy can never be created nor destroyed, kind of thing. I mean, like,
It's there.
yeah, I'm like, you're a magnet for some shit I don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
Welcome to the spooky
Yeah.
episode.
It's not even
the Mike and
October.
Tony show.
Yeah.
I don't even think he hasn't talked too much about ghosts. I think he already beat you, Mark.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, and he brought some
The living
crazy
are
stuff
scarier.
too.
Oh yeah, should pull some of that up there.
Yep, that's a perler bead depiction of Regan from The Exorcist. And the pages behind there are all of the pages from the Bible that reference demonic possession or exorcism, which are few actually.
Mark, you look
I had
terrified.
to Google it.
Should we get it closer to Mark? Like,
Yeah, you want to hold it, Mark?
Let Jesus fuck you, Mark.
oh my gosh.
I don't know.
That was wild.
Where to go from there.
Sorry, Mark, we just met.
Yeah.
I already like you. I'm okay with it.
Mark likes lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so, but eventually you did it on your own too. Yes or no?
No, I rebelled
never.
against my parents like teenagers do. My dad was like a brilliant sculptor. So like his deal was really restorative art. And he won some awards even for allowing people to have open casket funerals. One was a girl got her face cut off from the ears forward water skiing in the
but he's
propeller
able
of a
to-
boat at Chatfield.
Oh God.
So like they gave her a picture and my dad would just like get a block of clay and put it on and sculpt the whole thing and
wow,
paint it.
it was
and,
really
like,
good.
That's
Imagine.
talent.
Yeah.
That is talent.
Wow.
No, he was a super gifted sculptor. Like every year for his birthday, we would buy him a slab of marble, and he would spend all year with this giant slab of marble, and he would whittle it down with just a hammer, a chisel, and a file to make the face of one of his friends, but like with an Indian headdress, because like his parents or his grandparents were Cherokee.
Okay.
So he would like create these busts of people just like with minimal tools. I mean, he was also like born in 1930, so he grew up without things that we have that keep us distracted from being able to do things like that.
Yeah.
Phones, folks.
So like I learned a lot from him about that, and being in the funeral home all the time, and like seeing what death looks like and how bruising occurs, and like going through all of those things. I switched, and he spent his life trying to make dead people look like they were alive, and I started doing like horror movie makeup and special effects.
Other direction.
And doing, like I want to make the living people look dead kind of thing.
Opposite. Right.
Yeah. But no, I didn't do any funeral home work like after, I don't know, probably age 13 or so. For a while, my mom had like some groundskeeper shifts up on Mount Lindo ossuary, which is like, if you're from Colorado, you remember that giant cross on the mountain?
Yeah.
It's actually an ossuary. It's a cemetery, mostly cremated people. So like on the weekends we would have like ground duties there. So we would spend all day up there like barbecuing and hanging out and like riding bikes and like chilling in the mountains like with all the graves and
Jesus.
So that's so your parents must have been two pretty interesting people. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'm just thinking of like what, like it's just interesting, like the fact that your dad wanted to do that, you know what I mean? Like to him, that was something he felt. And I'm curious, like I would love to talk to him about it and just be like, I wonder what the thinking behind it is, like you're giving something to the families or if it was just a love for the art of it. And
yeah.
Actually, I don't even know how my dad got into it.
Yeah. Is it a thing? Do other people do it? I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's okay.
I know that like my mom and dad met in the funeral home. Like that's like she
That makes
moved to
sense.
Denver and he was working there, and she came in to be an apprentice because she was a nurse before in New York, but she couldn't get a nursing job here. So she ended up in the mortuary and was, that's where she met my dad.
Okay.
But how he got into it or how his career evolved, I don't know much. My mom stayed in it a long time after he did. He switched and became a welder and then did like other things.
Oh, my dad was a welder too. Wow, that's so crazy. How do you, when you look back on all those experiences, how do you think of it, or like how do you feel about it?
I reminisce about it a lot. Like I mean, I go to cemeteries still like all the time. Anytime I visit a new city, I'm in the cemetery. In fact, I was at Mount Lindo last weekend, taking photos. I just got a new DSL, or not a DSLR, a mirrorless camera.
Ooh, cool.
And been like getting into photography a lot. So I went out to Mount Lindo because they have a lot of like just mementos at the graves, and I love that. So I took a lot of pictures up there, but only of things that were at graves and not of graves.
Yeah.
Just taking pictures of like the toys and like the ornaments and like all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And trying to get it like out of context too, just to really to practice the photo skills. But my right arm is tattooed with zombies, and like that's just because of growing up in the funeral home. We didn't have a TV like in the funeral home except in the casket showroom. So at night when my parents were working on people, because most people die at night, it gets dark, your metabolism slows, lights out. So like that was a busier time for us. So like every time we had dinner, like my mom's pager would go off or something, or like we'd get a phone call and have to like everybody eat your food real fast, and then we'd all have to jump in the car and like go and pick up a corpse and bring it back, and then like maybe finish dinner, but like still I eat crazy fast because like I'm used to every time we tried to eat, we had to go pick up a body.
Mark's face. He eats crazy fast too, by the way.
yeah, but fuck me.
The only TV was up in in the casket showroom. So my parents would take me and my two younger brothers, and they would just bring our pillows and our blankets, and we would lay in caskets and we would watch TV. And it was like late night TV, so it was all like Elvira and Tales from the Crypt, and like when they had like when they had the Friday the 13th the series.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that kind of stuff. We stayed up like at night and watched horror movies. And to this day, like kind of horror movies are still basically all I watch. Crime movies too, but like horror movies of every kind, especially like the more awful it is, the better.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm like Troma just put out a new one, Sweet Meats.
Sweet.
which is from what I could tell, it looks like it's about a hamburger shop, and there's 4 misfits who work there, and they serve a food critic some ground up human, and then like he falls in love with it, and then they have to find more ground up human. I mean, so like it's not like they've ever seen a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But it will be poorly acted and badly scripted, and the effects will be shit, and it will be wonderful.
Wow.
What about, have you seen Winnie the Pooh?
I haven't yet.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's just poo, right?
Yeah, they made a morbid version of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's on my list too to watch. But you should see his bag. He has like a whole bunch of pins from all these different horror movies and stuff like that on his.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It makes your daughter think I'm ancient.
She's like, pins?
Dude, what a crazy life to grow up in.
Yeah, I mean, well, for him, he's probably like, it was just life.
Well, like that's what people say too. They're like, "Oh my god, I could never do that. How could you be around that?" I'm like, I could put my hands in a dead guy like all day long. You know what I can't handle is like dumpster juice. I'm like your dad's a sanitation worker. Like I'll stick with the dead people because like there's some shit that I can't deal with. A rotting corpse is okay. It's better than whatever is like dripping down the alley.
It's a testament too to how we're just such a product of our lives and our experiences and our environments, and like the fact that because a lot of people like Mark over here is tripping balls listening to. I think we all kind of are a little bit, but for you, it's just it's kind of normal stuff. I was curious, did you ever have somebody that you guys like knew personally come in?
Probably. I mean, it's like Canyon City is a small town. When my parents were working out here in Denver, I mean, maybe not so much. But I think they even had like colleagues. The guy who was teaching my mom how to be an embalmer, I'm pretty sure he died while he was still working there.
Oh God.
He used to play a lot of tricks on them too, like so like any kind of job that's like that stressful. I mean, because like the dealing with the dead people is like kind of the fun part. It's like having to deal with the families that is like taxing on you mentally.
Yeah.
But he would play jokes on them all the time. In fact, like they were living in an apartment near Cheeseman Park, and the mortuary was not far from there. And that guy, like one night, brought an organ out to their apartment and like put it under their window and like played creepy music in the middle of the night to freak them out. He played a trick on my mom, like when she first started. They were like he was like, you have to wire their jaws shut. So you use like cavity wire, and you wire the jaws shut
because the mouth just wants to come open.
Yeah, and like you drain their eyeballs and put caps in, and like embalming's it's a
Mark's face.
It's something. But he was like, go ahead and like wire this guy's jaw shut. I'm gonna go to lunch, and so she went to get the supplies, and he hid under the I forget what they call it, catafalque, the thing that they've got the body on.
Okay.
And there was a couch in the back of the room, and like she went to start wiring this jaw shut, and he'd shake the thing because he was underneath it, and she couldn't see him because there's like the curtain and stuff. So she freaked out and like walked backwards until her legs hit the couch, and she fell into the couch, and then he just popped out and he's like, going to lunch. So like after he like pranked them for many years, they decided to get back at him.
Oh.
And they took all of my mom's clothes off and they put a toe tag on her and they put her in a body bag.
Holy
And they were
shit.
like, all right, they're like, hey, take her over to the morgue at St. Joe's. And they chose that because there's a downward slope as you go. So she would know when she started going down. So she like knows that she's going down and she unbuckles herself and sits up in the back of the call car. Not a hearse because there's a different one. Like the call car is like the one for the bodies that are
Transported.
not in caskets and like, you know, the raw ones. So she sits up and puts her hand on his shoulder and he freaked out and just like jumped out of the car while it was going down this thing into the morgue in the hospital. So she had to like unbuckle the rest of herself and climb her naked ass into the front seat of the car.
Put the brakes on?
And put the brakes on. And she's like yelling at him and calling his name. And she was like, it's me. And he was just like, nope. And just bounced.
Never saw him again.
No, the
That's how he
next
died.
morning they called. He was supposed to show up for work the next morning and he didn't. So they called and they talked to his wife and she was like, I don't know what the fuck you guys did to him last night, but he walked in the door, sat in his chair, drank a bottle of whiskey, and he has been passed out there ever since.
Damn. Those are some serious pranks. Holy shit.
Mark's still stuck on the eyeballs.
Mark the couch guy is speechless for the first time ever.
Mark is just thinking about the eyeball part when he was talking about
Yeah.
drain the eyeballs. Mark's face is like, what? Like drain the eyeballs.
Most Filipinos are like medical people. This is exactly why I don't do that shit, dude. I can't do it. Bodily shit, blood shit. No,
Actual shit.
actual shit. I'll deal with actual shit before I deal with this. No, can't do it.
What are weird things about
Can't.
human bodies that most people probably don't know or don't realize, or like, is there anything like that?
Normally when men hang themselves to commit suicide, they ejaculate
What?
Post-mortem or
as part of the process usually. I mean, because like that's how like the singer from NXS died.
right. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's the thing.
like
Something
he took it
it's-
too far. Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation.
The Kung Fu guy too.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder why they like to get choked by dominatrix.
So it's, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
cause, just hanging yourself doesn't cause that. For a second, I thought that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
It does. Yeah.
So if you have no intention of that, you just hang yourself. There's a chance that you might just.
So if I'm
you're
gonna,
gonna Chris Cornell all over the floor.
so if I'm getting ready to like, you know what I'm saying, cut myself loose there because I know I'm getting ready to go.
How about don't kill yourself?
One last nut. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, one last time, baby. Let me
Going out
go.
like a champ.
Die with
Let it
toes
ride.
curled on one foot.
Let it ride, baby. Let it ride. Last nut.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. I didn't even think I wasn't planning on us just talking about this stuff. I kind of want to talk about your art too, but I just have so many questions. It's just a part. There's so many parts I think of society that we just don't talk about. It's like taboo or whatever, right? People don't talk about certain things, but you realize like there's definitely lots of people who this is a profession.
Yeah, it's a profession, and also it's like it. There are also humans that are doing that work too.
Yeah,
I mean, so there is joking, there is weird shit that happens. I mean, like the same way crazy shit happens, like at whatever job anybody else has.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just kind of unfathomable for most people because most people try not to think about death because it reminds them of their own mortality.
I think there's a lot of power in it too. I mean, do you think it's had some? Are there some positive effects or impacts on your life overall? Because I just think about that a lot too, and I love the idea of Buddhism. That's this idea that just understanding like there's a fate that's going to happen to this physical body for sure. There's no getting around it, and people do avoid it and don't want to talk about it. And you're like a Debbie Downer if you bring it up. But do you think it's had any kind of positive effect on you?
It's increased my dark humor.
I imagine so.
Well, like some of the things that were like really cool, aside from like all of the crazy stories. I mean, we had to deal with nearly every religion. So you learn a lot of different religious customs and then how those are
that's
associated with death. We never did any Jewish funerals. In fact, it wasn't until I was much older that I learned that like traditionally Jewish people are buried standing up. Like I went to a graveyard and I was like, are these all children? Like why is
this so
why
small?
are these all so close together? Yeah, they are buried standing up a lot, like traditionally.
Wow, that is interesting. Are you religious at all yourself, or you have any particular beliefs?
Well, like that's kind of what was cool about it, because there were constant religions coming in and out. My mom was really cool about letting us try any of them.
Neat.
So, like, I dipped my toes in like pretty much every religious water.
Very cool.
Like, yeah, but anytime someone came around and like knocked on the door, even we were like, all right. And like my mom would take us to a church until we got sick of it, and then that was
That's cool.
kind
Your
of it.
mom to be open-minded like that and just kind of let you explore.
Yeah, so I mean, like we did everything from like Jehovah's Witness stuff. I was baptized by like an archbishop, and then we were like Episcopals for a second. We went to a Buddhist temple for a while and like did the whole like that was the first time I've like ever encountered like chanting that wasn't like from a hymnal. So like doing the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo thing. It was cool to like learn about that stuff and just get like more of a worldly perspective of religion and how that
is awesome.
how that works into people's lives, and also realizing that it is pretty much just kind of everybody's way with dealing with their own mortality at the same time.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you believe? Do you have any particular beliefs or about like what happens when you die? Or
well, I did die once.
Yeah, that's right.
And there was nothing. So that's pretty much where I've landed on that issue.
Fuck?
Yeah, maybe we could recap it a little bit.
No, like when I'm actually asked, I tell people that I'm a Satanist.
Just for shits and giggles, or do you really believe that?
Well, because there's like a middle finger element to it, kind of a fuck you religion
That's
kind
so
of thing.
Interesting.
But it's also like depending on like which faction, and like there's a bunch of like there's theistic Satanism and non-theistic Satanism, and it devolves like any other kind of religion into a bunch of like branches
of it.
I was gonna say non-secular shit, but they like the one thing that I got from that religion was that I think it's LaVeyan Satanism. I can't be sure at this point anymore, but it was that like you are your own supreme being, essentially. Like your birthday is your most important holiday, and like you need to celebrate your life, and like it's still kind of a do unto others as you would do unto yourself kind of thing, but it's not really believing in a higher power other than yourself.
Where does the Satan title come from?
That's the fuck you to Christianity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because you're saying he forget the higher power, right?
Yeah, they needed to give it a name. I mean, because like really, if like you're like saying that you're a Satanist and like you worship the devil, like that's stupid, especially if you like renounced Christianity, because it's like you can't have one without the other.
Exactly,
It's that kind of thing. Like you need that dichotomy to make a religion work. I think Satan was just the name they gave it to be like,
yeah, right. To the most dominant religion in the world, predominantly, most spread, most forced on people, most used to control people throughout history, right?
It's true. The most ruler cracking, rice kneeling religions.
The holy world, the holy wars, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, wow, God, so much there, dude. You are such a fascinating person. I feel like he could come back 100 times, Mike.
Yeah. But we need to talk about his art, though.
Yeah, please. Let's move to the art.
Yeah.
So what?
Go ahead, Mike.
So talk a little bit about like what you've been up to recently. We did look at a couple pieces a minute ago. Like, what got you sort of moving in that direction? Have you always done art?
Yeah. We were never like TV people. My mom always had like art projects for us going on. In fact, we used to make ceramic urns for people, and we would glaze them and we would paint them in like gold leaf, like 14 karat gold. And then sell them for crazy amounts of money. But we always did like ceramics. My dad was a sculptor. My mom taught us how to knit with our thumbs when we were just kids. So like we were always art people. I've been more on. So I was like doing special effects makeup a lot. That's kind of painting. Like I'm not good at drawing. But I can paint because it's different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
for
like
sure.
there's some paintings obviously that are like hyper real, and like those guys, sweet. But a lot of painting, like you would learn from Bob Ross, is just using the right brush at the right time in the right place.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was going for with the painting. Also, I guess I'm at a point in my life, sort of like creatively, that I've come to accept the fact that I am not all that capable of making the things that I want.
Oh.
But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't create things and that there aren't people for
Right.
it and that there's not a market for it. So I started doing this like it's a pretty sort of basic sort of painting where you pour acrylic paint and like make kind of like trippy designs.
Yeah.
But kind of got into the science of that because I'm also like more than mildly obsessive compulsive. So having to deal with things that are not completely controlled are something I've been, I guess, embracing for the last couple of years. And maybe that's just the brain injury doing its thing. So I really started getting into the science of, one, when you're just pouring paint on shit, like you have to get your color theory down. And the same thing works with like photography, or it works with music too, not with colors, but you have theories. You know, if you're playing a guitar, you've got your pentatonic scales and chord patterns and stuff. The same thing is true of like color theory, where you have things that complement each other and things that become awful. So learning about that stuff, but then also the science of how paints and inks work together and what you can do with them with different chemical compounds too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
So like with this COVID thing, this was essentially a canvas that was just painted white, just a ton of white paint poured all over the top of it. And then these little like cell-looking things are dendrites. Essentially, what I did was took a couple different colors of ink and put them on here with a little drop of silicone oil in each one, and then some 99.9% isopropyl alcohol that I extracted from a can of electronics cleaner. And that creates these dendrites, these like
Branching sort of.
branched out cellular things, because the silicone is like a hydrophobic agent. It pushes water away, and acrylic is a water-based paint. And then the alcohol, because it's rapidly evaporating, causes these to branch out, and it pushes things away, just the way the molecules are interacting with each other.
That is so neat because you don't think about that. Like
No, yeah.
you think about
of
different
science of art,
mediums
yeah.
and stuff, but you don't really think about the science of the details of how the chemicals are interacting with one another, hydrophobic stuff versus.
Right, because I probably couldn't even like use a paintbrush to like paint that.
It kind of painted itself, sort of.
Exactly. But then I'm kind of also, I like the idea of
Hold up to the camera there.
putting some images in with it too. So after the ink and everything dried, it was like India ink. I put on an acrylic medium and layered on the top that COVID image, which was a stock photo from the web that I printed with an inkjet printer. But if you layer it into the acrylic medium, and let it dry almost completely, and then pull the film back, the ink from the image stays. So you're able to kind of like lay images on top. But you can do the same thing with like wood plaques or things. People make a lot of money doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So since then, I've done some fun ones. Like I did one of like one that looked like a tile floor that had like a guy laying down, and like underneath him was like a bunch of red splatter. So it looked like he had been hit by I got like a magazine ad from the 50s, and it had a woman holding a frying pan looking.
wow.
So it looked like his wife took him out. And then that was like a little bit different of a process because it came from like magazine paper. So you have to like lay it in there and like let it set and let it completely dry. And then you have to like soak it in water and like gently rub the paper fibers off to leave the image behind.
Yeah, dude, the processes that you use are so crazy. There's nobody else probably doing artwork with these kind of methods.
No, there are. Like
really?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't invent this. It's a mixture of like
this specific process that you did, like for this piece right here.
Well, and then like coated with like some resin too.
Yeah.
And then I liked it, so I didn't prepare it for hanging or anything. And like I'd need to buff out the rough edges and like fix it up if I was ever going to do something with it. But I liked the way it turned out, so I was like, well, this one I'll keep. But I did about like probably 30 or 40 over the course of a couple of months, and it took them like to some bars I was hanging out with and took some to work and was just like, hey, if you want a painting, like put your name on it, like figure out how you want it to be. But then since then I've been doing more like commissioned works. The commissioned works are a little bit more interesting because someone will tell me like, you know, how big they want it. So there was one time I had to make like a custom canvas. Like a guy wanted one that was like some stupid dimensions. It was like 29 by 23 or something, and I was like, that's a stupid rectangle.
One weird spot on my wall. Sorry.
Yeah. Like I can't just go to Michael's and buy that. You're a dick. Now I have to stretch a canvas and I have to prep it.
Interesting.
But then, like, you know, going off of like, you know, people want certain colors for their houses, or they want something because you can do like a lot with the techniques. I did one where a guy wanted a lady actually wanted she wanted an abstract set of hexagons. So I took like some kitchen skewers and cut them all into the same size pieces and made this kind of like almost like a honeycomb shape that was like kind of broken and fragmented. And after I had like put down the base colors and like made a design, which normally you're just like putting color on it, a bunch of different colors, you layer them and you move them around and try to get some kind of cool looking shapes out of the chaos.
Wow.
So I did that for the colors that she wanted, and then she wanted, it was like gray and like kind of 3 shades of gray for the back. And then I took that wood shape and dipped it into red paint and like made an impression on it. Then cleaned it all off and photocopied the image of the sticks all put together, and then used that to do an image transfer of just black, very angular, correct straight lines on top of where all of the paint was from the other image.
Cool.
To kind of give it like some sort of, I don't know, spacey beehive vibe or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick,
but
bro.
It's cool to take like what someone wants, but then also have to be like, just so you know, this could be awful. Well, like, 'cause there's not a lot of control in it, and even if you hate it, you're still paying for the materials and my time.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you just take pictures of these that you do?
I have taken some. In fact, that's why originally I bought the new camera, was to take better pictures
Of your artwork.
of the artwork, because too, then like if I made one that was like super cool, then I could take the picture and like have it like put on canvases and like get an Etsy page and be one of those.
Yeah.
Why not? It's your work.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of having them one-offs though too.
Yeah.
Like having them be kind of custom. My mom was a painter like when we were kids, and she one time was doing an art show at South Glen Mall when that was a thing. And she had all these oil paintings, and she had like 7 or 8 of them, and she had one that she was going to finish at the art show. So she was painting while people came up.
Cool.
And it was like a guy paddling a boat upstream, and she was just needed to paint his oars on. And while she was in the mall paying her registration fees and stuff, someone broke into her car and stole all the paintings.
Ooh.
So she was bitter about that for a very long time.
Oh.
And then I was probably like 4 or 5. Then when I was like 16 or 17, she was no longer doing embalming and stuff. She moved into doing pre-need sales, so like going out and selling people their death items before they died, because you lock in the market price. And she went into a place, and she had told us for many years about how she was like haunted, knowing that there's this picture of this guy going up a stream with no fucking oars on the boat. And she went into this lady's house and saw it hanging above her mantle.
What?
And she was like, dude, today my painting, I saw it, and I was like, the one with the guy in the boat. And she's like, yeah, I was doing a pre-need, and I went to the house, and it was hanging there, and I was like, did you tell them that it was yours? And she was like, no. I was like, what? She was like, I did ask if, I said, hey, that's a beautiful painting. And she said, oh, my son got that for me for my birthday, like about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, well, I'm not like saying like, did you call her a thief? I was just like, you didn't acknowledge like that was your work. I mean, like if I walked into some bar or something and it was like playing one of my songs, I'd be like, oh shit, that's me.
Yeah.
But she was like, no. She was like, but what I did do was that when I signed her pre-need papers, instead of using my regular signature, I used the signature that I used when I painted. So I signed all of her paperwork with the signature that's on the painting. And if she ever puts that all together, then she'll know. But she just left it at that.
Oh man, there's like some interesting stuff going on. That's so wild to think that, and it's almost just looking at life like from an outside perspective. It's just like the beauty of life. I love that now. At first, I was like, "Whoa, why didn't you tell her?" But the fact that she signed it with the same signature, and then either the lady figured it out or she didn't.
Yeah,
but it's there
The
for
mystery
her to
is
find.
there, bro.
Right? Choose your own adventure.
So cool. Damn, that's crazy. I don't know how she stopped herself from asking. If that was like you said about the song or something, I would immediately be like, oh my God, where did you get this? I want to know the story. Do you happen to know where you got it from? Or like, I'd just be curious, like how did this end up on this wall? And it's kind of flattering too. It's obviously great art.
Yeah. And the person loved it. She was like, she really loved it. I wasn't going to tell her that it was stolen. And I was like, well, you don't have to. I was like, I would just get I would have a hard time getting past not acknowledging that was my work.
Yeah,
no doubt.
That's especially like in a stranger's house. Like I get it when I go to my friend's house and I'm like, oh, you still have that on your wall. That's cool. I'm glad that you don't hate me. But for it to be like just like random out of the blue, and it's been 13 or 14 years since you've seen it, I would have been like,
right? You wouldn't be able to control it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I wonder how much of it that she liked about the painting was the fact that there was no oars. Like maybe it did something or was it not obvious? Did it just look like they were just chilling in the boat?
Yeah, it probably just looked like it was chilling in the boat. I mean, but it was driving my mom crazy for years. Even after it was stolen, she was like, that man is going upstream with no oars.
Fucking oars.
She sneaks into the house at night.
Yeah, she
paints some oars on it?
Paints them
With
on
a little light.
like you should do it. Sneak in there with
Imagine the lady the next day.
you sneak in with your
And then
burnt
she
umber.
notices the signature.
Wait a second.
Dude, that Mr. Bean movie when he snuck in and fixed the Mona Lisa.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it probably.
Probably not.
Yeah, it's a great movie, by the way.
What do you think, Pierce? You want to hit a little bit of these fun facts?
Yeah. So again, 50 of the fun facts this week. Sorry, everybody. Those are late night fun facts.
Not that late. It was before the show.
Yeah, before the show. But O.J. Simpson was considered for the lead in The Terminator.
Get the fuck out of
Wow.
here. I'll be back. Nope. Well,
No,
don't
it's
feel
not
the same. Won't feel the same. Can't.
He's
Sorry.
so crazy, like how he jokes about it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
OJ.
Yeah. About the murders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like one time I remember one time he was like, there was like a reporter or something. He was like,
Yeah.
did some motion like that. And you're like, holy shit, dude. That's so crazy.
That's dark humor.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Adolf Hitler was convicted of high treason in 1924, for which the penalty could have been death. The judges sentenced him to 5 years, holding sympathy for his political motives. Hitler was released after serving just 9 months and became a dictator within 8 years. That's kind of crazy.
There's multiple things to stop him, right? And there was that guy that could have let him drown, and then this could have.
Then we may not have had magnetic tape machines.
Yeah. What's that one?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, the magnetic tape machines.
Oh, magnetic tape machines were invented by Nazi Germany. There were 2 of them. Like the way that magnetic tape molecules stack on top of each other. There's a certain way that they have to like. There's a thing called, which I'm pretty sure it's called the Nyquist theorem. Audio engineers still don't understand what it is to this day, but it's like what makes magnetic tape work, and it like came as a result of the science of Nazi Germany. And they made 2 magnetic tape machines, and they used them in vans to like shout propaganda in the streets.
Okay.
You know? So like then you didn't have to like go hoarse. Then Hitler was like a big fan of Bing Crosby, and he
Really?
gave Bing Crosby one of the original tape machines. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the CBS studios in New York. I don't know where it might be at this point. But yeah, Nazi Germany is responsible for the magnetic tape, which led to, of course, like, you know, cool rock and roll music, but also like computer discs.
Yeah.
Like the first computers were tape driven.
Wow.
Wow, that is
Knowledge right here.
wild.
I got one real quick.
Okay.
Michael Myers' mask in Halloween is William Shatner's face.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
I've heard that one.
Yeah. That was
Fucking
wild, too.
William Shatner. Look at your fucking. Love you.
What about you, Dollar?
Loud music causes you to drink more in less time.
Really? Is that why
You
when I
should
play
listen.
like video games is like that's why I drink so much water?
Well, maybe because you don't. Do you drink a lot of water?
I do.
Oh, you do.
You
Is that
should
a
see
new
my
thing?
area. No, I just my area is filled with like empty bottles all over the place.
By the way, your water bottle here, from my view,
Yeah.
anyway, it looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing or something.
Container, right?
Yeah, it's like one of the canisters with the ooze in
I
it.
fucking love this thing.
So what? I don't know much about these. Do you know anything about these, Pierce? The hydrated
Hydrogen
water,
water.
hydrogenated water. Is that what it is?
So it's supposed to
It's
be
supposed to be
like
super beneficial, but I feel like this is just going to be a fad that in
Yeah,
10
another
years no
gimmick,
one's
yeah.
going to barely
well,
remember.
it was on Joe Rogan. I loved it. I got Alpha Brain from Joe Rogan.
Did you?
Yeah. By the way, it works.
Does it work?
I feel it works.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
play video
it's
games
backed
more
by,
like
Well,
lab
that's lion's
studies
mane
and-
and all that stuff. It was like,
Yeah, like in my mushroom coffee here.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're doing a lot of stuff like this now because you're drinking the
Rise?
mushroom. Yeah, the Rise green tea one.
I haven't been earning for coffee ever in the morning for a while now. For a good 2
so
weeks.
you stopped coffee completely.
I wouldn't say completely. I do it just to do it now.
Here and
But
there.
I'm like,
Well, because it's probably everywhere, right? You go to
Yeah.
people's houses,
Yeah.
people's offering
but
coffee.
mainly
on.
from work though. You know what I mean? My whole routine was I get to work. I have my own Keurig at work, my own,
Same.
hazelnut and everything else in my office. So it's like, it's
hazelnut.
there.
Oh, is that the cream? Do you put the cream
Creamer.
stuff in it?
Yeah. So I don't, now it's like, I don't have any desire to
And it's good for you. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
stuff in there. It's interesting. I should try the matcha one. I haven't tried that
Matcha's
yet.
amazing. But the hydrogen water is just like, it's amazing things. I mean, it's I've been taking it for about a week now, and I don't know. It's just like I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling for it, but I have energy, right? I do. I have more energy. It's supposed to give like any benefits from like any of the fruits and vegetables that you eat, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, stuff like that. It's coming really like, I guess that's coming out from this hydrogen water. But I mean, honest to goodness, you put some fucking water in here, mineral water. You put it on, you turn it on, you just like drinking water. Whatever effects after that is.
Does it taste different?
No.
No.
One bit.
How much does one of these run, if you don't mind me asking?
It was just like $60.
60. Jesus.
Just I wanted the gallon one actually.
How much was that one?
$99.
$100 for a water bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have a battery? You charge it?
Yeah, you charge it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
No, it's hydrogen powered.
Yeah. No. But I mean, I've again, you never know because again, it took me 3 weeks before rice started.
Are there studies on this? Do we know? Do you know, Pierce?
Yes, I mean, I don't know. I just
Bought it. He just bought it because it's on Joe Rogan.
fucking Joe Rogan's fucking guy just popped up. It was like, there's a lot of benefits to it. I was like, yes, Joe Rogan, I'm listening to you. Right? I believed them when that comes to
Did you buy
Alpha
a
Brain.
fleshlight back in the day?
Oh God.
I mean, anything that can help me be more,
You know what a
I guess.
fleshlight is, buddy.
I don't want to know because of him. Oh, flesh! I think you said flashlight or fleshlight.
Fleshlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that because he's been talking about like medically embalming in bodies and shit. Flesh? No, I don't know what a fleshlight is.
There are worse things. I saw a reel not too long ago of a guy who he bought like 6 fleshlights and filled them all with pasta.
What the fuck is a fleshlight?
Okay, now you want to know?
I want to know now because you said something.
It's a male masturbation thing.
It looks like a flashlight.
Yeah.
Feels like a flashlight. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It was I said it was a joke because it was one of Joe Rogan's.
Yeah, he just what.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's either a mouth or a vagina.
oh, that's fantastic.
Come on, Mark's like, okay.
Imagine gaming and just like, I lost.
Oh my God, no. And all of Mark's Twitch people are like, what the fuck is he doing?
They all in fact Twitch.
Oh man,
Can we go back to the fun facts?
Yeah, go. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
We should probably get back to it.
The velociraptor noises in Jurassic Park are tortoises mating.
Get the fuck out
what?
of here. That's fucking nuts.
We've talked about like audio stuff in movies before.
We talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting stuff.
What else, anybody?
Like the human brain operates on about 15 watts.
Jeez.
That just like makes me wonder what the operating power is for the Neuralink.
Right? For the Elon's Neuralink.
Yeah, I'm like, if it takes 15 watts to make my brain run, and you're taking 2 of them, so I can like. So
That's a valid point.
Well, what's the benefit that I don't need to use my hand to move a mouse cursor?
Yes, true. I never thought about it like that. A single strand of spider silk is thinner than a human hair, but also 5 times stronger than steel of the same width. A rope just 2 inches thick could reportedly stop a Boeing 747.
Spider-Man.
There was recently a dude. Well, I don't know how recently, but a guy went. I don't even remember what country, but they were finding spiders that create a lot of webs, and he was milking them for the web. And he created a guitar that was completely strung with strings made out of spider webs, and it was playable. It's a YouTube thing. You can watch it. But like as a guitar player,
How the fuck do you milk a spider?
they had to do a couple iterations of it.
That's for sure.
You don't milk them, you silk them.
I think I've seen that in the grocery store, actually. Don't they sell silk?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shit that I learned today.
And now Starbucks will never be the same.
Are you going to be okay after this, couch guy?
I don't know. Tiger Woods made his first hole-in-one at age of 8 years old. By the way, I'm starting to look into golfing My middle fingers did not want to go down the first time I finally learned how to appropriately hold a club.
Yeah. even
Look, yeah, right.
You were doing it the whole time.
Yeah, look, it was like this, right? This is the way you hold it, right? For some reason, I was at a virtual golfing place.
Yeah.
My buddies took me out. Paul, right? Paul from Concord.
Oh yeah, okay.
He took me out. I was like, yeah, hold it like this. I was like, all right, cool. The next day, these two fucking fingers did not want to come down.
What are you?
That's odd.
I swear to God, I couldn't bend them. So this whole time I had to work. I was at work like this, doing like this the whole time. Because if I was like trying to close it, I'm gonna go like this to a customer or something. I was like,
He's just walking around
fuck,
all day.
like
A fucking
this.
How's it
Barbie.
going?
Mark's working around like with Barbie hands.
I was like this.
Like, I gotta
I
knit.
literally
Hold on.
couldn't. I couldn't close it, dude. Like, think about it. Look where the fuck it's hit.
Just because you used it so much, used your grip so much in one day, and you weren't used to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm never used to holding it like this. It's weird. Like, sorry. Anyways,
So
I
good
just
to have you back, couch guy.
literally
Glad you're back.
my middle finger would not go down. Both of my middle fingers. I'm still obsessed with it right away.
Yeah.
Went to Top Golf, and everybody else was trying to play fucking angry bitches, and then I was just trying to hit the black. And every single time I try to hit it with the 7-wood, just like pew pew. I was like, man, I fucking suck at this game.
Bringing it back,
So
the contrast between you and Tiger Woods is remarkable. His first hole in one at 8 years old.
Imagine that. Fuck you, Tiger.
Oh my god.
Hate him.
Wrestling legend Kevin Nash, Big Diesel, was highly recruited for basketball coming out of Michigan. He was the second most sought after player behind Magic Johnson.
Get the fuck out of here. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild. That's
Kevin
definitely
Nash, Big Diesel.
I would love to see him play back in the day.
Dude, is this one true? I guess they're all true, right? So,
Yeah. Fun fact.
Metallica is the first and only band to have played on all 7 continents. No other band has ever done that. Wow, it's a good one to do it, I guess.
I want to be that person.
What, wait,
The
Metallica?
world- Yeah.
You want to?
It's not a person. It's a group of guys.
Yeah, you
Group
know,
of persons.
I know what the fuck Metallica is. I'm just saying I want to be part of that group. Be part of that good legend.
I think they're kind of, you missed the window. I mean, they're still playing.
Yeah.
There's still hope. You can still join.
God,
You must do like an Arnel Pineda. You want to take over the singing, Mark?
Bro, I have an angelic voice, okay? I don't like people falling in love with me.
You,
It's pretty fucking angelic. I'll
find
tell
a
you.
fun fact quickly.
This one right here.
Yeah.
The world's first speeding ticket was issued in 1902. The driver was allegedly traveling at 45 miles an hour. Just put that in perspective. These are these fucking like old ass
miles.
cars, dude. 45 fucking miles an hour in that
know.
thing. He was flying, dude. Like,
Imagine. But they saved him from himself, probably.
Oh my god.
How was speed measured in 1902? Did they have a radar gun?
What
I know, right?
great question. It's an estimation. That was about 45, dude.
God, I've had that done before.
What, from a cop?
Yes.
Were they estimated?
Estimating
and they
that
told
I
you
was
that?
at this. Yeah, because apparently like the markers on the road.
How far apart you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far apart you are from the
I
markers
see.
on the road
Yep,
and
there's
how
a way to do
fast
that.
you go through them, they can estimate your speed.
Okay.
Right, because you can like look at your speedometer and count those lane stripes and see how much further away
Makes
they're
sense.
pulling apart from you.
That's why they have
sure.
specific lengths. Those bastards.
I wonder if it's something like that back then.
So now I want to be
measured against.
fucking mischievous now. Now I want to go down like random roads and just like add a little bit of extra line to these
Just to
fucking
throw it off so everybody can go faster.
Did you know that like the Denver photo radar van laws just changed?
Really?
Like before, you didn't have to pay them. It was like pay this.
now you do.
But it even said on them, like, if you didn't pay it, then there is the potential that they could send an officer to your house, and then they charge you an extra $60.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten like probably 6 or 7 of them over the span of
You're
my
not gonna pay
driving
it.
career, and I'm like,
Never paid.
I've never paid them, and I'm like,
Because an
I'm
officer
like,
didn't give it to you.
yeah, I'm like, come and drop it off. but a bill just passed that goes into effect. I don't know if it went into effect January 1st or if it's July 1st. I'm not sure, but now it is part of the law that you do have to pay the tickets that come from the Denver radar vans or from the red light detection
That
things.
sucks.
Or from fucking the
Well, that's the end. It was a weird night. We had some technical issues tonight. Some crazy ass stories.
The fucking ghosts, man.
The ghosts.
Oh, that's what it was. Fucking you, Mark.
Man, don't fucking me.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
He had crazy stories, but you talked about the ghosts. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Sorry.
Yeah, see? Fucked it up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad you're back, dude. Thanks for coming, dude. You have to come again.
for sure.
Come hang out with us. So much more to talk about, I feel like.
Next week we got Dan,
Oh, yeah.
and then I'm trying to work out with some guy from CrossFit Mob, the owner.
One of these guys that got you doing this crazy workout shit lately?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but with that dollar,
Yeah.
it is a wrap. Cheers.
Cheers.